So how do we finish this threading and also trim it together with our body surface? And there's actually one problem we have, and that is our helix is a complete object that goes over different axes, but our surface is actually just half of the model only. So what do we do here? Well, this surface, for example, we can't use for this command, but we don't delete it, because if we delete it, I'm going to delete the surface input for my blend surface. So let's maybe for the moment put the surface onto this layer. Let's call it deposit. Oh, I think I have a deposit 2 somewhere already. Oh yes, there. Okay, well, that's fine. It's not really a big problem. And let's turn on curves. And then while being on the threading layer, I'm going to create or recreate the surface by using actually both rings. Okay, so now I have a complete full skin circle and not just only half of it. Then in the next step, I can actually cap those edges. So let's go planar surface and okay. Hold on 1 second. I don't want to by accident click on those rings. Okay, I'll go this way, cap, and zoom in. Click on this green line, cap. Okay, now we have those parts capped. So why did I cap those? I capped those actually so I can apply a pretty big fillet so that the end of my kind of like the cylinder, which is sharp, is a little bit rounder, so it looks more like as threading that is submerged into the main bottle body. Then I can go to the surface fillet tool and then select the planar surface, spacebar, select the pipe, spacebar, make sure all those vectors are pointing into the correct direction. And of course, oh, something doesn't work. So let's see what the problem is. So the vectors are all correct. Okay, so what is the problem here now? Let's select those two objects and actually, hold on, no, I would like this surface to be hidden. Okay, and then the circle here hide as well. Good, so everything here seems to be fine, so let's try this one again. I'm setting this all to default, radius 1, and then surface 1, surface 2, adjust the vectors, build, and again it doesn't work. Okay, so what could be a problem here? So it can't be really... Oh, actually it was all the time. Radius of 1 was just too big. Okay, 0.9. There it was. So that was my problem. Okay, good. That's good to know that there is something else going wrong. So we can, with that fillet value still inside the tool, go to the lower part and then select the other two parts Okay, the vectors are correct. And there we are. Perfect. Okay, then we can show everything again. Let's turn maybe the wireframe off for a moment. There you can see that it is of course not necessarily the way how most threadings will look like, but a rounded edge still looks much better than, for example, a sharp edge. And then to finish this, all we have to do is go to Surface Edit and then intersect and say my kind of like the pipe surface, please intersect once with my tube with one cap and one planar surface. Only click once. If you click twice, then you're actually creating a second line. So pay attention to whenever you click if a curve will be created, like there is no one. And I'm going to zoom in here and do the same for the planar. Okay, so that is good. Then we can go to trim and say trim this object, and I click like between all those three tubes and on the other side as well, just to make sure, because with a helix that Alias perfectly understands all the parts I would like to keep. And click keep. Yeah, and that looks actually good. Okay, then do the same, but this time we go onto the tube surface and say those parts discard. And let's see what the result is. And I don't see any problem. That looks pretty good. Let me zoom in here for a second, and you see that there is a thicker green line. If I would have selected the outside, I would have to click here and also in between here to prevent that this surface remains, and then because here's a surface edge, this small part would have been removed as well. So in case you end up with small gaps between your pipe and your surface, you have to click those surface parts, for example here as well, or just simply do it the way how I did it, click the inside and then remove those. And then we have to do the same, of course, with this one here. And with the cap. And you see here, for example, I have a small leftover. So only because you do it from the inside doesn't mean that everything will always work fine. And I have the fear I might have a trimming issue here. So let's maybe rotate to this view. Okay, yeah, this works better now. Good. Okay, and then we can go down to this part, select it, and I place more markers, say discard. Okay, that worked. And discard. All right. And that was basically everything to create a threading and then remove the surfaces inside.